One of the characteristics of Christianity is the emphasis on mission. In the New Testament scriptures, Jesus ends his own ministry by commissioning disciples and apostles to go out and preach the gospel, making converts of all nations. The book of Acts presents a narrative of this early mission activity, claiming that the success of the spread of Christianity is due to divine power. It tells readers, for example, that when some apostles are being arrested for their activities, a council member urges caution. He points out how many false messiahs have risen up. But when they died, he points out, the movements they started also died out. So in the present case, he says, I tell you, keep away from these men and let them alone. Because if this plan or this undertaking is of human origin, it will fall. But if it is of God, you will not be able to overthrow them. In that case, you may even be found fighting against God. The book goes on to tell of Christian apostles and prophets spreading their message through teaching and healing, even against significant opposition. These scriptures affect how Christians view the spread of their religion and how they understand their own activities of mission today. Scholars note that not all religions have a missionizing focus. That Christianity does belongs in part to its universalizing perspective, based in large part on Jewish monotheism, which affirms a single God who is creator and ruler of all. Jesus and his earliest followers were Jews, but the earliest surviving writings in the Christian Bible, the New Testament, are letters addressed to believers who include Jews and Gentiles in the cities of Asia Minor, Greece, and Rome itself. We know communities were also established in the first centuries in Egypt, North Africa, and Ethiopia, and east to the Malabar coast of India in what is now Kerala. Believers were diverse in language, culture, place, and in terms of which scriptures they possessed. It is also notable that Christianity's mission coincides, not coincidentally, with the cosmopolitan ideals of conquest, expansion, and universal rule of the Roman Empire, from which it emerged. Groups were initially formed within relatively stable and economically thriving urban areas. The mission spread along established trade routes, enabling some Christians to keep up at least occasional communication with each other, as Paul's letters to churches in Asia Minor and Rome attest. It may also be that Roman Empire had made it seem natural that a politically unified area would include diverse cultures, a situation that Christians embraced fully. Today, we're going to take a look more closely at the spread of Christianity, first examining the letters of Paul. These are the earliest surviving writings in the New Testament, and they give a portrait of one of the earliest apostolic missions. We will next turn to other early independent forms of Christianity in Ethiopia and India, before discussing the spread of Christianity through European and U.S. colonialism, the growth of local churches, and the impact of transnational forms. And we will look at examples of what happens when a religious tradition spreads and crosses not only geographical areas, but cultural, social, political, and linguistic borders. How are scriptures being interpreted and lived out in these diverse contexts?